right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome again to our mentoring session. And so it's good to be back before you, and we are going to be discussing some great information. If you have missed the last episode or last week episode of Mentorship Support Group, we've been talking all month here at Capital Recovery Center, informing people about PTSD. What is PTSD? I'm glad you asked. PTSD stands for post-traumatic stress disorder. And so within the same breath, we've been talking also about SUDS, and that is substance use disorder. And so that is what is called in the medical field co-occurrence, all right? And so from dual diagnosis, once the medical professional do their assessment, they make the determination if there is a dual diagnosis, either PTSD or SUD. All right, without further ado, let me tell you where I get this article from. And this article comes from medicalnewstoday.com. You can go online, retrieve this information, and I hope it be helpful to someone on today. All right, and so let's get into it. So as you can see at the bottom of the screen, it's scrolling across, it says PTSD, 5 effective coping strategies, mentorship support group. We're going to be discussing, sharing information on 5 effective coping strategies. This information fairly new to me, and so I hope someone can be helped from the information. The article says post-traumatic stress disorder is caused by witnessing or being part of a frightening or shocking event, and it can affect day-to-day life and productivity. In this article, we discuss a few ways that you can keep its symptoms under control. All right, post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, is best known as the condition that affects, all right, people who have served in the military and who are therefore most likely to have witnessed a disturbing event on the battlefield. Yet, developing PTSD can be a natural response to any number of distressing experiences, such as sexual abuse, physical assault, accidents, or any type of violence. Symptoms trusted source of PTSD include a heightened state of anxiety, especially accompanied by persistent flashbacks of the traumatic event, sleeplessness, moodiness, and avoidance of places or social events that might trigger flashbacks. According to the Anxiety and Depression Association of America, 7.7 million adults in the United States live with PTSD. That is a staggering high number. Though women are twice as likely as men to develop this condition, PTSD can last for years, and its symptoms can severely impact overall quality of life. That being the case, it can sometimes be tempting to apply negative coping strategies to deal with symptoms of PTSD. Okay? Negative coping strategies may seem helpful on the spur of the moment, yet they can easily turn self-destructive in the long term. These can include resorting to alcohol or recreational drugs to numb your feelings, decrease stress, or quieten your thoughts. Alcohol and other substances may take the edge off to begin with, but can cause addiction if used as a substitute for proper treatment, such as cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, which has been recognized trusted source as a safe and effective intervention for this disorder. All right, let me read that again. It says alcohol and other substances may take the edge off to begin with, but can cause addiction if used as a substitute for proper treatment, such as cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, which has been recognized, trusted source as a safe and effective intervention for this disorder. Okay, so what are some things you can do in addition to CBT and any other treatments recommended by your doctor in order to keep your PTSD symptoms under control? Here are a few approaches you may want to consider. Here are a few that you may consider. So as you can see at the bottom of the screen, we're going to be talking about 5 effective, okay? We're going to be talking about 5 effective coping strategies, all right? And so the first one we want to talk about, that I want to share with you is mindfulness meditation, number 1. Okay, so we're talking about coping strategy, effective coping strategies, all right? And the first one is mindfulness meditation. Increasingly, meditation and mindfulness-based relaxation techniques have been shown to help manage a range of disorders. A reviewed trusted source of mindfulness-based treatments for PTSD points to a few therapies that have been found effective in reducing avoidance and self-blame in people diagnosed with the disorder. These are mindfulness-based stress reduction, which is an intensive 8-week program focused on the practice of mindfulness meditation that aims to train people to focus their attention on their breath and learn to avoid getting carried away by intrusive thoughts. Okay, these are exercises that one can, but these are based stress reduction, mindfulness-based stress reduction. Another one is mindfulness-based cognitive therapy, defined as an adaptation of mindfulness-based stress reduction. Has a very similar structure, but is designed to target depressive moods and negative thoughts more specifically. Mindfulness-based exposure therapy, which includes a 16-week non-trauma focused program trusted source that incorporates MBCT, mindfulness-based cognitive therapy techniques, and favors self and control exposure to avoided stimuli, focuses on self-compassion training, meditation, relaxation, such as a loving kindness meditation, was also deemed effective in increasing self-compassion and reducing depressive symptoms related to post-traumatic stress disorder. Mantra repetition practice. Now, this sounds interesting. I haven't read it yet, but let's see what it says. Mantra repetition practice, which refers to the silent repeating of a sacred word or phrase, appears to be effective in targeting anger, hyperarousal, or the state of being constantly on guard and symptoms of anxiety and depression. And so these are some effective coping techniques that one may want to learn or do. If you're already doing them, if it's working, I suggest that you continue to do them. And for those who don't know about these, such as myself, I'm familiar with cognitive therapy. That is something good. I'm familiar with behavior modification, exercise techniques. And so they are some good tools that one can use if one is feeling having anxiety or feeling that they need to let off some type of stress. That's very helpful because I used it. And if I find myself in a bad thought process, I go back to it. You know, it's always good to work on yourself. It's always good to work on oneself. Let's talk about number 2, regain focus through physical activity. All right. Many people who have been diagnosed with PTSD say that finding an enjoyable physical activity that can perform regularly has helped them to reduce their levels of stress and cope with their symptoms. Okay. All right. And so here's a young lady who I believe shared some insights. Her name is Rebecca Thorne, who was diagnosed with PTSD following childhood trauma, explains how running has helped her to cope with the symptoms that were impacting her life. So running is a suggested physical activity. It says, I am a runner and I suffer from PTSD, she says. One of the many things I think about while I'm running and also when I'm not is the relationship between the two. Okay? I embrace running in all weathers, always with a considerable amount of ascent. As I fight my way up the climbs, I often imagine that the hill is my illness, and I am going to slowly and steadily conquer it. Yet it never feels like suffering. And once at the top of the hill, I can reach out and touch the sky. Wow, such motivating words. Look at it from that perspective. You know that you are in a good fight to overcome something. And so keep climbing, keep fighting, keep making waves. Whatever you need to do physically, don't give up. All right? It says research from Anglia Ruskin University in Cambridge in the United Kingdom found that surfing can be an effective coping strategy for war veterans diagnosed with PTSD. Surfing. Wow. Okay. According to the team, this sports help veterans to attain a focused mind state known as flow, in which they are so absorbed in the activity that they are performing that all other thoughts and emotions are pushed aside. Dr. Nick Candy, who was involved in the study, compares this with the effects of mindfulness meditation. All right? It suggests that it is more effective. He calls it a moving form of mindfulness. Oh, wow. So we touched on two thus far. The first one we talked about, and that is number one, go back, mindfulness meditation. Number two, which we just covered, regain focus through physical activity. And so let's talk about number three. All right, aromatherapy. Aromatherapy. Let's see what the article says about aromatherapy. All right, another study covered by MNT earlier this year, okay, found that orange essential oil may be effective in reducing symptoms of chronic stress and anxiety associated with PTSD. All right. It says, however, this study was only conducted in mice, and these effects are yet to be replicated in a human cohort. Still, some individuals diagnosed with PTSD have said that aromatherapy can be a helpful relaxation strategy and is effective at lowering stress levels. All right. Someone wrote who has been managing her own PTSD symptoms for many years writes, lavender, sage, peppermint, or any other relaxing oil massage on the spot between your eyebrows and your pulse points is marvelously calming. All right. And so if you are someone who are into any type of yoga, some type of massage therapy, relaxation therapy, these are some good insights. Okay, these are some good insight, and I hope the information can help someone along the way. All right, and so here's an article by author and former Thames Valley police officer David Kitchen, who was diagnosed with PTSD in the 1990s. And so early this week, I have come to learn that people who are in the healthcare field of first responders, police officers, firefighters, EMS, nurses, doctors, they also can be affected by PTSD. All right. And so here's someone who is, I believe, was a police officer or still is a police officer. Wants talks about. It says, say that this person was diagnosed with PTSD in the 90s. Also advocates for the soothing effects of aromatherapy in one of his books. He writes, a quote, aromatherapy can form part of the healing regimen as well as being a preventive therapy in its own right. It gives pleasures through the sense of touch, massage, the sense of smell, aromatic oils, the sense of sight, pleasant surroundings. By doing so, it helps to create favorable conditions in body and mind for healing to take place quite naturally. All right. And so I thought that was very enlightening as well. Let's go on to number 4, art therapy. And so never be afraid to learn new things. Especially if it's productive and effective, uh, effective. I mean, and that it causes some type of growth and productivity. All right. And so let's see what art therapy has to say. A type of PTSD therapy that has been picking up steam over the past few years is art therapy, led by specialists trained to work with people who have experienced traumatic situations. This type of therapy aims to help individuals externalize their emotions and learn to cope with distressing memories through art such as painting or sculpting. All right, remember, this is a mentorship, and reason why that we're doing mentorship uh, support groups is because there is a lot of people who may need some type of support, whether it be one-on-one, group setting, uh, to assist in situation, whether it be their own struggles that one may be experiencing or overcoming. Uh, Also, it may be for a family related situation, work, school, and the community. And so we feel the need and the drive to at least give it our all in all to help someone to be better and productive. And so let's finish talking about what the article says. It says a specialist trained to work with people who have experienced traumatic situations. This type of therapy aims to help individuals externalize their emotions and learn to cope with distressing memories through art, such as painting or sculpture. One case study shows how art therapy can help individuals diagnosed with PTSD and traumatic brain injury to overcome their symptoms and begin to leave their distressing experiences behind by using art projects strategically. All right. All right. And so it says it says study Study author Melissa Walker, who works as an art therapist, explain why and how art therapy can be effective in treating PTSD. Walker encourages the people who she works with to create masks, exploring the impact of the traumatic experiences on their lives and personality. Someone who has experienced trauma has a block that keeps them from verbalizing what they've been through. She says in an interview, there is a shutdown in the convulsion of, she calls it BRCA, the part of the brain responsible for speech and language. That's heavy. It's called BRCA, a part of the brain responsible for speech and language. She says people who are experiencing PTSD, they may be having a blockage in verbalizing the experience. And so a person may shut down. All right. And said the mask gives them a way to explain themselves. Okay? The concrete image of the mask unleashes words. It reintegrates the left and right hemispheres. Now they can discuss their feelings with their social worker or psychiatrist. Whew. You never know what can unlock someone to begin to share and to be able to make strides. Take one thing I believe that we begin to take the one step and begin to work on oneself. So I'm a person who went through a therapeutic community, and I had the pleasure of being a part of a cognitive group, and it helped me to really understand, to be able to reassess, reevaluate myself and my situation and my circumstances that I was in, and to be able to look at it from a different perspective, with the goal of reinforcing positive information of how I can turn not only the situation around, but turn myself around. And so that was very helpful for me. And so the therapeutic aspect from an art perspective, I think is good. Behavior modification, exercise is good. And so there's a whole host of things that we can talk about to combat a lot of distressful situations. However, we're talking about 5 effective coping strategies. Okay, we're looking for ways to learn how to cope better with our situation, whether it be PTSD or which stands for post-traumatic stress disorder, or SUD, better known as substance use disorder. Right? And so the last one I want to share with you, and that is number 5. Pets for PTSD. I don't know about you. I have a dog now. I had 2, and so I only have 1 now, and so I really enjoy the my pet, and so she is a dog, and so we call her, me and my wife, we call her Diamond. She is our diamond. She is our precious diamond. The other dog we had was named Jewel. She passed away. So now we only have Diamond. And so she gets all the loving from us. And dogs is very intuitive. I believe that's the right word I'm looking for. They pay close attention to your movement, your body language, and so they have the sensory mechanism to pick up. They don't have the intellectual aspect, but they have the sensory. All right, and so let's see what the article says. Not forget, but let's move on from what I'm saying. Another approach reportedly effective in helping people to cope with the destructive symptoms of PTSD is adopting a pet that is especially trained. All right, it says especially trained to recognize and prevent or interrupt the onset of such symptoms. This article says a trained dog who is able to recognize, prevent, or interpret the onset of such symptoms. All right, interrupt, not interpret. Interrupt, excuse me, it's not interpret. Interrupt. All right. It says a number of studies, trusted sources have shown that adopting a trained animal has a positive impact, at least in the short term, by helping people to manage PTSD, related depression and anxiety, as well as other symptoms such as nightmares. Research published last year indicated that spending as little as 1 week with a Trained dog improved PTSD symptoms by 82%. Trusted source. All right, let me read that again. The article states, research published last year indicated that spending as little as 1 week with a specially trained dog improved PTSD symptoms by 82%. Trusted source. Here's another person who shares their experience with PTSD and how they was able to cope. And person here is Richard Steinberg, a veteran diagnosed with PTSD, says that his dog can sense when he's having a nightmare, night sweats, and she becomes restless, doing her best to catch his attention, trying to remove him from the situation. He goes on to say, putting my hands on her calms me down, and it calms her down. He had. She senses the chemical changes in my body. All right. And so that is 5 effective coping strategies that I want to share with you, because this is June, and June in the healthcare field of substance use disorder and mental health. We are part of Cumberland County Human Services. We feel the need to share and talk about not only mental health, but also substance use disorder, addiction. All right. And so until the next time, tune in, let somebody know, comment, let us know what do you think, how we can be better. And like to hear from you and know exactly what we're doing, right or wrong. But we definitely need to hear from the community so that we can begin to make a difference in people's lives. Until the next time, I am Craig, your recovery coach. And no, hold on, I don't want to just say your recovery coach. I am a certified peer recovery specialist. Yeah, I want to put a little respect on that. All right, until the next time, y'all have a blessed day.